home.
We are
Ben.
streaming.
Not that funny. Fuck you.
Yep. Okay. We're back.
I'd like to bring the DDA April 13th board meeting back to order at 12:52 after a little technical difficulty.
All right. So we're still on item 4A, correct? Yes. It's the last one. It's the last, but it's very, very not least. So, all right. So again, today I wanted to, this is our second recognition. We had the volunteers. Thank you for recognizing the contributions of our volunteers, which we have many, many that give hours of time and service to our organization in our city. But today, this is a team recognition, and this goes to one of our beautiful team members who has been working with our organization for 6 years now, and has helped shape not just our organization, but the cultural heartbeat of our downtown. So today I'm going to recognize Mariska Gatto, who serves as our surprise. Mariska has been working, especially this past month, more than ever, but Mariska has been serving as our cultural arts director for the Downtown Development Authority. Really changed into that transition. She joined us in 2020 as our downtown activation manager, and at the reopening, we took over the management and activation of Old School Square. Went back to her love of really the Cornell Museum, and that role she brings something truly special to this community, her vision, her passion, and her unwavering commitment to excellence. Mariska's elevated the Cornell Art Museum, as you heard by Lottie, into a place that is not only visually inspiring but deeply meaningful. Through her leadership, the museum has become a platform for artists, a gathering place for our community, and an engaging and beautifully curated and a cornerstone of Old School Square. Her exhibitions and her thoughtful, engaging, and beautifully curated, each one telling the story and inviting our community to connect, reflect, and be inspired. What makes Mariska's impact even more remarkable is that she does it with grace, with intention, and with deep respect for both the artists that she supports, or that to support the community, and all that serve our community. She understands the art, not just something we display, it's something we experience. And because of her, that experience in Delray Beach continues to grow stronger, more vibrant, and more inclusive. Behind the scenes, she is a collaborator, a leader, and a steady force. She works seamlessly with our team, our partners, and our artists to ensure that every exhibition, every activation, and every detail reflects the high standard we strive for at Old School Square. Mariska, your creativity, your dedication, and your quiet strength do not go unnoticed, and you have made such a lasting impact to the campus, to our Delray Beach, and we are incredibly grateful for everything you've done. Thank you. Here's your flowers. It's a little part. Truly a lifesaver.
Could I just say one thing?
Of course.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Laura. I don't know where I would be today had I not made that phone call to Laura immediately upon learning that we were furloughed at Old School Square. I wanted to stay within my community. I worked with Laura in the past for art walks and all of those things, and I knew the DDA was a place that was calling to my heart, and joining the team was just the best gift I could have ever received. So I'm happy to be here to serve my community, serve my town on the right team, and continue to shine as brightly as we can and help us continue to do well in our community. So thank you all very much for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariska. Amazing. Thank you, board. I appreciate that.
So that brings us to a Old School Square venue fee waiver request for the Rotary Club.
Right, and that's Rita.
Hello, everyone. First, I have to say thank you because, whenever I talk to somebody who's either just moved here, they all say it's shocking how many people love Delray and get involved. And you are all the epitome of that. So thank you for everything that you do. Also, thank you for last year's waiver of this event. It helped us be a tremendous success. We were sold out. And I think, if I recall correctly, you want to ask me some questions, unless you just want me to do a review.
First one's an easy one. Your name for the record, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Rita Rana, and I am the president of the Rotary Club of Delray Beach, one of the oldest non-for-profit organizations here in the city. And we are requesting a waiver for our annual fundraising event, which is entitled Run for the Roses. It's a Derby-style inspired event outside at Old School Square. What we do with the funds, I had written a letter. I don't know if you've received it.
I sent it out this morning. So
Okay. So you should have all received it. Among what is one of the major items that we contribute to are we give some of the graduating high school students here in Delray Beach, who might not have a lot of means to go to college, but they've done an exceptional job of graduating and excelling. We go through sometimes 50 different applications, and we give out 10 scholarships with those fundings. What we're also doing this year, we want to have it accomplished before the new school year starts, is for every student in Delray Beach, and that's almost 100 students here in Delray Beach that are on the McKinney-Vento list, which are children that are experiencing homelessness. We coordinate with the city as well as each of the schools to get all of the necessary items for those homeless children. So shirts, shoes, underwear, hygiene items, which is, again, necessary items. We also give out dictionaries to every third grader, which might seem, a dictionary. A lot of them don't have their own personal phones, and this is the first book that they've ever gotten. And knowing the challenges we have in education, again, that supports us. We also give with these funds to the Miracle League. We sponsor a team. And if you're not familiar with the Miracle League, I would encourage you to make it one Saturday night at the field in Delray. It's just all disabled children who want to feel like they're a part of sports. And it's heartwarming to see them all excited. So I don't know what else I can tell you that would help you in your decision making for the waiver.
That's great stuff.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes, sir. I know you were.
I'm always the tough one, but I'm really not that tough.
No,
I just look for
I know.
These are
Go right
city
ahead.
taxpayer dollars, and
Yes.
I just
Yes.
we asked for the budget. I know you sent something saying, hey, it's like $25,000 and it's these things, and then we got the email, and really the two biggest expenses was $10,000 for the tents and $10,000 for the food.
No. There was a full listing. It was $10,000 for the tent, $10,000 for the food. There was the AV, and then also we
right, for the
offer
other
valet.
five. Right.
All right, and
Well, I didn't see the valet one in my cost, but again,
yeah.
it's fine. But generally with the budget, and I know you gave us it's a paid event and the price per table,
Correct.
but you didn't really give us how many tables there are. So the stuff I would generally like to see if you're gonna ask the DDA
Okay.
for the funds is
Okay.
hey, this is how much we're gonna spend, right?
Okay.
These are the items we're gonna spend money on.
All
This
right.
is how much we're gonna charge.
Okay.
This is what we hope to make. And then out of what we hope to make, this is what we're going to give to the kids, the families, and everything
I
else.
can tell you that now. I didn't know specifically
Yeah,
what
that's
you
generally
wanted.
when I say a budget. That's
Okay.
And then what would happen is after the event, you come back and you say, okay, this is how we did. These were our expenses. This is what we did. And then this is what we gave, so that we're in the loop. It's all in the light,
Okay.
and it's a little clearer. What. I know the Rotary Club, great organization. I'm not doubting it. I just want to see a little
No,
backup.
and
for when you ask for-
just so you know, our treasurer is David Harden. We have everything available for you that you would possibly want. Our
So run me through it real quick if you know, and if not, you can
I
send
do.
an email.
I know it. So just tell me what you need and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, the basically like the income and the expenses and what you plan to net and how much of that net goes to the charity.
Yes. So we're anticipating this year to bring in, I want to say the expenses are roughly $25,000. I know that
Yeah, that's
clean. What you're expecting and what comes in, I don't know.
That's why it's a budget.
But
Okay.
we're anticipating somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $20,000 to come in, and all of that, that's our net on top of paying off our expenses. So that money will be used 100% to go to all of those things that I discussed previously. The money 100% goes to that. After we pay off, the tent and the food, we're going to have another net of between $15,000 and $20,000 that will go to those items.
Gotcha. Great. So appreciate it.
Okay.
Next time, just give us the budget.
Okay.
Again, I'm comfortable with it all. And then,
Okay.
afterward, I'd just say, provide the invoices.
Okay.
Saying, hey, guys, this is the invoice for the food and the thing. And if it's
Alright.
whatever it is, it is. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more.
Okay.
Maybe it's 10,000 on a nickel to the dot.
All right.
And then, show, hey, this is what we generated. And then that way we know, hey, we provided the 2,500, but they made $15,000 to give to the charity. Not like, hey, they did it. They made $2,500, and that's like the $2,500 we gave.
So this is what I can do, Brian. After the event, I could do a write-up. I'll submit it to Laura to forward it to all of you. You can tell me if it's clear enough or if you need additional information for next year, so I'll know exactly what you're looking for, and I'll
Yeah,
come
that's fine.
prepared.
It's in the application too. It says if approved, final expenses and net revenue will need to be provided.
I
So
completely
I'm just
agree.
asking for the stuff that's already looking for.
I-
Tell us how it went and everything else and so forth.
I'm hoping that some of you are going to be there because I have to tell you, it is fun. So not only do you have a tremendously great time, because again, it's in the heart of our beautiful city at Old School Square. It's outside, we're under a tent, there's all these fans. There's not one person there that doesn't get dressed up. And you feel good because you know where that funding is going. The whole reason I got involved with this organization, I was sitting in the audience. Edwin Ferguson was up here speaking to the commission, talking about the lack of great education that is here in our city and the challenges that we have. And I thought, good golly, let me get involved. Somebody recommended the Rotary, and I saw Mayor Carney was making a big push for it. So here we are all in the same boat, rowing together to try and get the best outcome that we can for these kids.
Super. Can I have a motion to approve?
One more thing, just
Yes, sir.
I ran the numbers really quickly and I could be off, but again, 250 anticipated attendance.
So there's going to be 30 tables of 8 each, right? So that roughly comes to like 24,000, right?
30 times 8, 240.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So that's
And then
what.
125 a seat if they paid the more expensive
Well,
rate.
so some pay 125, but the table is 800. So then that's $100 per seat, right?
Let's run it at 125 per seat, just to run the higher number.
Right.
So times the 125, that would be 30,000 at the higher number. That
yeah.
you would get per seat.
Right. I'm going to say we'll probably come out, because a lot of people purchase tables. I will say out of the 30 tables, we already have 25 of them sold. Right. So they
As a table.
they mostly purchase by table. So it really is more, and I hate to downplay the profit that we make, but that just to be
But wouldn't
transparent.
that be less than money?
Pardon me?
If it's 100 a seat for a table, but 125 for a seat, and if I multiply the higher number, the 125, forget the discount, I end up at 30,000 gross revenue.
Right.
If you sold every seat at the higher number. You're
Yes.
saying they're not all higher. But if you sell all the seats at 30,000,
Yes.
and the event's 25,000,
Yes.
then you're probably going to generate, if you sell it out at the higher number,
Yeah,
5,000.
tickets, everything's been on sale. She's already said she's
Right,
sold
right,
already,
but
but right now.
5,000, so it could be less, but at the higher number, it's 5,000 for the non-for-profit
Right.
that this event would generate.
Right.
Right. And then if we charge you 2,500, it would be about 2,500.
And then we
That
also
would-
have sponsorships.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah, again, that'll show up in the budget and stuff. I'm just
Yes.
trying to, I want to make sure that,
Yeah.
you know.
I think what I'm going to
crazy.
do, since this is, and I want to make sure I satisfy everything, I think I might contact you and find out specifically what you would like so that next year this is easy peasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's the same thing I look for from everyone. You know,
Yeah.
just basically a budget, expenses, and then what it's going to generate revenue for the organization.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do the math.
Thank you.
Are we done?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve.
1 second.
Yes, sir.
With the vendors that you have listed, as to who you're using, are any of them downtown businesses?
So the AV company is a downtown company. I tried to use the tent company that's a downtown company, but they were a lot more expensive. So I had to go with the other company. And then the food, the same thing with the food. This year we tried to get companies that were downtown, and this person just could supply the people and the food. The AV is a gentleman who's a downtown company, and I see him at a lot of different events. He did it for us last year and did a wonderful job, so we went back to him. And then the valet company, I'm not quite sure if he's a downtown company, but I called last year at like 5 different companies. He's the only one that did it, and he seemed to know people at the city because that process went pretty smooth. But if that's something that you say next year, again, if they're competitive, then we'll be very happy to go
Okay.
with the downtown
All right.
company.
Well, hopefully we can encourage them to become a downtown company or companies.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this is actually at Old School Square too. So I think those are things, if we want to require that as part of the application, those are things, if you want us to put those as part of the application, we can start putting that in there. But
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a requirement because, as far as I know, there are no downtown tent rental companies.
there's Delray Beach.
So there's some Delray Beach tent rental companies, but so that would make it
Yeah. Most of them.
unnecessarily cumbersome on certain things, like to require someone to use a downtown restaurant when downtown restaurant food is a little bit higher sometimes. That would also not be cost prohibitive, so that just doesn't make sense. That's not a fair thing.
Right. I think we have it covered in question number 3. What significant value or benefit will your event provide downtown Delray Beach and downtown businesses? So if they are leveraging downtown businesses, I think that's a good area in the questionnaire
Yeah.
to highlight that.
And to Al's normal point, whatever brings businesses or bodies to Old School Square benefits all the businesses around it, whether or not those businesses are directly used as vendors or not. I was just curious, were any being used?
And I'd be happy, like, for, the next event prior to show you the bids that I'm coming in with. And then if you have, any
You could just provide them as
relationships.
backup. Like,
you
that's
know?
awesome backup.
Yeah.
When you provide your budget, you say,
yeah.
hey, here's my budget,
Well,
here's
I
the
think-
bids. Because
yeah.
it just gets us comfortable giving away the public dollars when we see what it is and not just like a handwritten thing.
Well, we can share other applications with you, what they've provided that have,
Right.
met.
Yeah, it's not a
which we
lot,
should be
but just the
doing anyway.
general stuff. Just
Yeah.
because that's on the record, covers us, covers your organization,
Not a problem.
covers the city
Yeah.
commission.
Well, that's why it's in writing in an email.
Thank you. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
There you go.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. And again, if you want to come talk to me, all right, we'll see.
Thank
and
you, Rita.
I just have to say, I think that is so adorable. So
He's the best.
thank you all
Thank
very,
you.
very much, and thank you for everything you do every day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rita.
So that brings us to old business 5A, downtown parking pilot program review discussion. Laura Simon and Vice Chair Rosen.
All right, so we do have, to support this conversation today, we do have, we put a presentation, some visuals, so that way basically everything that was provided to you, the backup, to run through the parking program and updates. So this program, which is the parking fees, the parking employee parking program, or part of a pilot program that the city is reconsidering at the April 21st City Commission meeting, or reviewing. And what we provided to you all, as you know, is the survey that we conducted. It was open for approximately a month and was sent out to both to our database, which includes residents, business owners, employees, and that we have a survey for that, and then we had one truly focused on the employee parking permit. So we can run through.
Yeah,
see if
so
they
these
can help
are
with that.
these are just high level, really high level numbers. You all have the detailed report in your packet, but the parking rate survey that we sent out, we got a pretty large response. 520 people responded to that survey. Residents, visitors, business owners, employees. The highest number of people that we saw in this survey were residents. But overwhelmingly, I would say they had a negative sentiment about the parking changes. 62% said it was reported a negative impact. They said they visit downtown less frequently now. They're unhappy with the changes. And 57% say parking is now harder to find. And that comes from the fact that they're still looking for free parking, and it's now much harder, obviously, to find because there's less free parking. But some of the top concerns, we also asked them for feedback, and we did get some open-ended answers, like it's too high, the cost of it is too high. There's no more free parking before 4 p.m., which is a loss for daytime business. They reported confusing signage. We asked about garage safety and conditions, and then displacement to competing cities. So those were just the general parking sentiment. Going into the employee parking permit, we had a very different sentiment. They were very positive. The employees and business owners were very positive about the employee parking permit program. We only got 42 responses, but these are highly engaged employees and business owners. They reported being in downtown and parking in downtown every single day. 81% of the people who took the survey had applied for the permit. They support the program continuing. They consider the cost fair. They're satisfied with the location of the parking for the people that hold the permit. Some of the key themes, though, employees, some said they shouldn't have to pay to park for work, so they think that some of them said this should be free. There were some concerns about part-time employees and how do you make these permits more affordable for people that are only working part-time in downtown. Some had complained about the monthly renewal being burdensome, that you had to renew it every single month. And then there's a coverage gap as far as the beach end, because you're not allowed to park on Atlantic Avenue or A1A for the permits, and that causes an issue because really there's very few, options when you get to the beach.
So what is, Aaron, you can probably answer. Where did they park before? They would just pay for parking on A1A or something like that?
They get the permit from the city, and they park on the lots.
Oh, okay.
Across the street, and they park at the open.
But with the employee parking permits, they can still park in the lots or no?
Oh yeah, you can park
Like
anywhere
parking
except
No.
Atlantic
No, no.
Avenue.
Okay.
The
Or
parking,
A1A.
Okay,
no,
so
the
it's-
parking, employee parking permit does not cover beachside at all. The $10 permit is only west of the bridge.
Oh.
So there isn't an employee, the permit that Aaron's referring to is the beach parking pass. So the $99 beach parking pass is what businesses
buying.
recommend for the employees to
Yeah.
purchase.
Do you have to be a Delray resident for that or no?
No, that's why they can purchase that.
And Aaron, a quick question on that. Is that $99 for the year?
Yeah.
That's
So that's better than the $10 a month for
Yeah.
so if I can park on A1A or
Parking a lot.
the lot over there, I mean, one of the lots to the south or whatever, that's better
Right.
than the garage. So thank you.
And then we also talked about, went back to some of the DDA recommendations. These were recommendations that we sent to the city back in earlier last summer. before the changes, and then kind of bringing back some of those same feedback and those recommendations. Now that the City Commission is looking at this issue again, they're going to be bringing it up at the City Commission meeting on April 21st, which is a couple of Tuesdays. Or next
I assume
Tuesday.
we share this, or hope we share this with the city, right?
Yes.
And do we, it'd probably be helpful to get some feedback to understand how much additional money was collected and so forth. Just some round figures, whatever else, so forth, so we can see. But if the employees aren't complaining, and $10 a month seems reasonable, a little more expensive than the $99 for the year, but,
So to add to, because we did have, as was stated earlier, we've had several meetings. So we had the meeting in October to kick this off, and throughout the merchant meetings that we've had several. This has been a hot topic, obviously, around the employee permit. It's still confusing, I think, operationally. There's operational issues. So if it was to continue to ensure that enforcement understands the employee parking permit, because people are still getting, while they have the permit, they're still getting tickets. So to make sure that that works its way through. So I think operationally, if it does continue, how do we continue to enhance that part of the program with education and information? And then other feedback that was given is the time limits. So there's no longer term parking on the surface lots anymore, or because you have 3-hour and 4-hour maximum times. So Veterans Park parking has been cumbersome there because of the limited time that's there. So the Lady Atlantic cruise ship, obviously, and some of the surrounding businesses there have seen a really negative impact on that. And also the shift and change to 11 a.m. versus it started at 12 p.m. So we increased to 11 a.m. to start all parking enforcement or meter parking in downtown. And our daytime businesses saw a huge negative impact on that 1 hour shift. So
quick question. I've never been on the Lady Atlantic. I'm apologizing right now to them. I'll have to get on it. But how long is that cruise for?
it's a
So
3
then
hours.
if you're 2 hours and you got 3 or 4 hours, it shouldn't impact them, should it?
Yeah, I mean,
you can't you can't combine it with anything else. So this is my thoughts. The only thing, I mean, I understand that the city wants to be able to, that we all want to be able to generate funds from parking. I completely get that. It makes sense. The only thing is the balance of, okay, so how do we make money here but not deter people from coming and spending money over here? So, and I think that that's what we have to fine tune. So if we're creating time limits where people can't hang out and spend the day. So Delray's a beach town, right? So you want to come in the morning. Maybe you want to go to the Green Owl. Maybe you want to go to Lulu's. Maybe you want to go to Luna Rosa. Maybe you want to go to the beach. Maybe you want to do a little shopping. Maybe you want to go out to lunch. Maybe you want to meet some friends. Maybe you want to go to happy. Maybe you want to stay the whole day. But we're making that difficult because I gotta move my car and I gotta do this. So it's almost like, do we make it so that they can feed the meters and stay exactly where they are? Make it, reasonable so that they can just keep paying and actually enjoy the day without having to feel like they have to change parking spots or do something like that. Should some of it be free and some of it be paid? I just feel like Laura and I were talking about like travel and leisure and saying, Delray is a town you don't need a car, right? You stay the whole day, you walk around, it's a walking city. But if you have to take a car to get here, then we're really kind of creating a problem to make it a place that you spend the whole day and then distribute the money that you're going to spend throughout all these businesses. So that's the only thing that concerns me, is how do we find that balance so that we can capture the money for the parking, and we can capture the dollars for things like Lady Atlantic, for the shops, for the the places that are maybe losing that business because somebody's going to get in their car and leave.
Or not come at all.
Or not come at all.
Now, the private lots, they're not limited on hours, correct? They're a
know
lot
for
more
sure.
expensive. I know. I paid $50 for 3 hours in one lot, and thought that was a little obnoxious, but
The only thing I can say, and it's great because my father is sitting right there in the turquoise shirt. My dad, I hope you don't get mad at me for saying this, is 92, and he's remarkable. But we go out. My dad enjoys Delray left and right. You can find him at Johnny Brown's listening to the Flyers. You can find him shopping and eating and going to visit all of his friends because he's like the Mr. Mayor, he's your sub. He's the unofficial mayor of Delray. So he loves it, but he gets really flustered like when we go to park. If I don't get out of the car and do it for him right away, if he's by himself, it's kind of hard for him to navigate the machines. And he spends like half an hour just standing there, like not knowing if he paid, if he didn't pay, did it work, did it not work? So that's also something, and that's not everybody that faces that, but that obviously there's a certain element that faces that. So I don't know how we get around that either.
Well, that is also feedback from the merchants who are out there on the street seeing this happen, that same scenario. And that, remember when Gibbs did his study, he said, and that was one of his recommendations, is like when you see these meters that work and don't work, and how are they working for the public? So it's and the business owners are having to help navigate through the meters for people.
I think I recall that study quite a bit, and it did say parking's not free was a big part of that, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing I think it mentioned was that you want to charge enough that people will move, so you always have 1 or 2 spots available, so they're not just parking
That's also
there all
done
day,
by
right?
That's also done by data. So understanding which areas are your prime spots and which aren't. So then that drives the turnover. So it's all again about managing parking, and as Brian knows, is that this is about us, managing the flow of our traffic flow, also making it so easily defined spaces, so that the city does have that app that does show the available parking. But it's also, again, we're not a 12-month city. So we have to, as we're going into our slower times, so making sure that, we're not being a deterrent, especially during our slower months as well.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
If I may, yeah. Thanks. I love hearing all the feedback, and I love discussions on parking. I'm a big believer in understanding how to best manage parking, and it's a big factor here in Delray. So with that being said, I actually kind of want to, I'll come back to the specific report, but I'll dovetail off of it on some real world things happening today in our downtown that, if it's not on your radar, it will be. One is obviously Subculture Coffee. I don't know if you've seen the posts and everything else. They're dealing with some parking things over there. We'll see how that goes. I do understand that they're, trying to move it forward, trying to get things lined out properly by the city over there. I know they're working on some things to move some employee parking that was in some of their spaces there. I understand that the sign guy next door, Don, he's moved his trucks as well. So hopefully, just on a parking update, we'll see some positive things kind of happening over there, and just hopefully their use, again, it's local downtown business. We'd like to see them, if a business is busy, that, it can operate there, especially in an area we want to see things happen. So hopefully parking, that gets cleared up a little bit. Again, I'm tracking it, and just we'll see where it goes. And the other area I did also want to bring up, which has come onto my radar recently, is like around Artist Alley, Northeast 3rd Avenue. That specific area, again, we've got the Arts Warehouse there, which is a large building without much parking there. They host events. It gets very tight over there. It also happens to be one of the few spots in Delray where you can park all day and there's no meters or anything else. And, like water, the population has kind of found that area, and those spots are filled up early in the day. They used to not be, but now early in the day filled up and the cars don't move. And I know
Which is bad for business.
which is bad for businesses, and we're going to see another couple businesses opening there. You've got Segredo's, who's dealing with some parking issues right now, and I know that they're using a lot across the way, which I don't know if it's a legal lot, and they're working with the city on that, but to put some cars on a dirt lot there. And I know that the restaurant across from Glimmer Cafe is getting ready to open as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to drive a lot more traffic to that area. And I know the mechanical parking garage is working and going to be part of that whole situation. But I'm just saying we got to keep our eyes on that. I'd like to just put it on the city's, note board. I know they're already looking at it, but that's just a spot that it may make sense to put in meters to help the turn, because by not having them, it's actually a detriment to that area. And again, if they speak to the business owners and the landlords in that area, they'll tell you that they want to see the meters come in, which is a little bit different than everything we speak of generally, because we always hear about no meters. But it's just, when the rubber hits the road and places get busy and it's all the parking spots are filled, it becomes an issue. So again, I've always leaned towards the garages being free so that there is a place where people can park downtown for long periods and not have to pay. And I'm open for paying, extending maybe certain lots, maybe not on Atlantic, but other parking lots, the ability to extend past a certain amount of hours. I know that goes against the turnover, but I believe the financial pain of having to keep paying it will create turnover in itself. So, it may not turn over quite as quickly, but that would be for the lots maybe we can talk about. Overall, working with JoJo and Missy Barletto to hopefully start getting some more parking reports on the utilization. I understand it's up, but I don't have, all the numbers. I know they've been busy with a lot of stuff, but now that we have those things in the parking spots, we'll understand, if the spots are full, the spots are full, right? The ones we're metered. And if they're not, then we know we got to kind of do more. So again, I think that information is going to be crucial. Jumping back to our report, I saw 69% were Delray residents. I think we had a really high turnout of residents that filled out the questionnaire out of the 500 plus
308.
folks. Yeah. I don't know if we could maybe respond to everyone with a link to hey, I don't know if you have it not already, but here's how you get your Delray City parking pass for, $12 for the year. Being a Delray City resident, please make sure you take advantage of it, because you may even have a more positive experience parking downtown if you understand, since you pay property taxes, it costs you $12. I know that makes me feel better about a lot of the stuff. So anyways, just a couple quick thoughts on that from me.
Al?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm down here.
Yes, I see.
Okay.
You look like you've been to the beach too. You got a good tan.
Yeah, Disney World. Anyway, to reiterate what Jewel said, I just agree with that. First of all, I agree with the report. I think the report's really accurate about how people feel and what's really happening. I do agree with everything you said, except for the part about your dad. I believe your dad can do it on his own if you give him a chance. But in terms of a short time period doesn't allow people to do the boat, do the food, do the walk downtown. If we have one of the most walkable cities in the world, in the country, we should certainly let people take advantage of it. I started in the DDA board 10 years ago, and I did it because I really wanted to fight the implementation of meters on the avenue. I had reams and reams of material that showed that in California, in Sarasota, Florida, and here in Delray, we had put meters in, and they had put meters in, they had taken them out. It hurt business dramatically. Other people came with reports that meters caused a lot of turnover, and it was great for business. But I doubted that, and I fought the meters a lot. Over the last 10 years, I've watched parking go up and down. Back 10 years ago, we really had problems parking. On Friday and Saturday nights, it seemed that the traffic just went around in circles. But somewhere along with the free garages during the day till 4 o'clock and the meters on the avenue, parking became a lot less of a problem. It seems suddenly now that we've made this change and the lots aren't free and the numbers are changing, we seem to have a little more difficulty. It seems that we had found a really nice mellow point where we were working with it, and maybe we had to just adjust prices or some things, but it looked pretty good. Now I think it's going the other way. Even though we have employee parking that they can pay for, they now maybe are taking up more spaces in spots that used to be for people. I don't have a clear answer, but I do believe that we've lost daytime business, according to my business, and the only event that could possibly be is that the parking lots that were free during the day and made it easier for people to come right down, drive in from Boca, park the car, and do Delray. You can walk all the way to the beach. You can buy cheesesteaks at my place. You left that out. Well, everybody. I don't know why everybody left me out, but I really think that has affected business. In my mind, if you had to charge double for the time at the parking lots that wasn't free, but at least made it free in the daytime, and gave longer time during the daytime for the lots outside of the parking garages, I think we have a better chance of drawing people into the city who will stay longer periods, and that gets us the benefit all around. It still gets us the money, but it just gets it from a different time. Anyway, that's what I got to say.
I know for our valet, when we do long term for the people who go to the beach, even if they don't eat with us, we do, I think it's $22 or $25 for the day. And if they're there 4.5 hours at the most, I mean, so even if they come and eat, they go to the beach. And I watch the cars all day long on A1A, and I don't hear a lot of complaints about the stay times on the beach side. I mean, people just get wrapped
You
up
have
and
the
they go.
beach. I'm so envious. Give me the beach. And
I mean,
keep
but,
the.
but I was here when it was.
Keep Federal Highway.
That might be a difference. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and as far as Brian, how's it work when? Because I forgot this when I was on the parking board. If I'm applying for have a location on A1A or anywhere in Delray for to have a business, right? I'm going to run a restaurant. Is there something that tells me that this is the amount of parking I have and what I don't have? To where this, because
Yeah, they do a parking calculation. Generally, it's based 12 spaces per 1,000 square feet for a restaurant, and then they'll take how many parking spaces you have, how many square feet you are, multiply out the 12 per 1,000. So you provide 4, subtract the 4 from what you need, and there you get to the in lieu parking requirement. And then it's not a given. You got to go and get it approved that it makes sense based on surrounding parking, the area, and everything else.
Well, now it's changed
So that
too.
you can get
The
that.
in blue parking requirements
In which
have
regard?
changed how they're going to, if they are going to give in lieu. The policy has changed or the ordinance
Yeah, well,
has
it's the
changed.
commission's choice. It's not a given. You can't just get them. They just have to go through the commission now, not through the parking.
Just want to say, for disclaimer purposes, that's Brian's memory of it.
Yeah, that's my
Go-
memory of it.
go to
Things
the
do
city
change all the
for-
time.
Right.
For
That's the general overall view.
for the official word on that.
Yeah, please talk to your planning and zoning city employees for the specifics on that. And I would suggest getting a zoning verification letter just to be sure. Yeah.
so what I was getting at was, if I'm trying to open up a restaurant in Delray, I know that I have no parking. We got a parking problem.
Depends on the location. Every location
anywhere
is
that's
different.
sweating over towards the beach, it's going to be a hard place to have parking.
I've got a location with parking, but it's generally not many places do have
But
it.
what I'm saying is they're not going into this like, holy cow, I'm going to have all this parking. They know that they have an issue when they on their.
Well, that's
on
why,
their plan.
again, yeah, the city, generally that's why everyone likes the second generation restaurant space, because it's already grandfathered in as a restaurant, so then you don't need the parking. And then the city likes retail and wants to protect the retail, so they use parking as a way to stop retail being turned into restaurants. So that's kind of how it's more or less balanced itself over the years.
Going back to the Gibbs study again, if you have a parking problem, that means we have patrons. That means we have people coming and visiting and so forth. So I still am a firm believer that if you look far and wide, you look around, there's still plenty of parking. We've just added
Convenience.
new garage. Everybody, I'd love to park right in front of my business, but it doesn't work that way, right? Even where I lease right now, I mean, I'm supposed to have a parking spot with every single space, but now people are parking 2 and 3 cars.
I have to call them all the
so
time.
forth.
I'm all over them.
No, you're all over. He's all over my son. So who's that car there again?
I got
But
I got regular customers that say when season starts up, they'll see you in May.
Well, there's one thing, if I can add. We used to see every property that got built in Delray. It used to come across the DDA for us to review. Now the city has changed, and we're no longer seeing everything unless we go out of our way to find it, and we still don't get a presentation from the city. But we used to hear and see all of the shortages of parking per individual business that was being created, whether it's a motel or hotel, where and we would question constantly, and Laura, being the standard bearer here, would constantly bring up the fact that all the new businesses that deal with the parking issue that we have, within lieu or not, never have a requirement to have parking for their employees. You'll get, if a hotel has 300 rooms, I don't know the formula any better than Brian, but whatever the formula is for the number of parking spots to the number of rooms, they didn't include the employees. And we always end up in the same place. We always say, gee, we're short of parking, and gee, we have a parking problem, but we never really address it. And now parking lots like right on 3rd Street and Atlantic Avenue are being built over, and we gave them permission to build when they were parking lots, and we're giving up some of our parking. So we're not adding enough parking, we're actually taking away parking, and we're creating more need for parking without supplying it. And in lieu, in my mind, it has been both a tremendous success and an abject failure because the money hasn't been used to help parking. It's just been used for other things. So in my mind, if a lot of this could be taken care of by better planning by the city, and not in the sense that the city's not planning for it. It's just, it's difficult on a item by item, property by property basis to oversee and fix a huge problem, which is the overall city problem.
I think it comes down more to managing what's here, because between the private sector and everybody else, we do have a ton of parking. Whether you can walk from your spot, there's a ton of parking here.
So, Brian, I have a question. So, the Glimmer, right? So, Nick and Elena, and now they're going to open Ethereal across the street, and I've known them. I've known Nick 25 years. That place is going to be one of not only the hottest places in Delray, but it's going to be one of the hottest places in Florida, and it's going to attract people from Miami. People are going to come from everywhere to go there, guaranteed. Where's everybody going to park?
They have a parking plan in place for that
Oh,
one.
they
that
do?
has
Okay.
parking from
Okay,
using
good.
Bender's lot, which is
Right.
also owned by the same owner.
Okay.
Off hours, as well as the mechanical garage.
Okay,
All that one I know is done. I mean, the sushi restaurant next to it, I know got approved.
good, okay,
But that one I don't think has parking. You know?
okay,
But I know I've seen the plan for the other one where all the parking's like dedicated.
good, okay.
So
It will be phenomenal. It just will attract a lot of people, and they'll want to park somewhere.
that mechanical garage I know does work, and it's got like 57 spaces in it.
Okay,
You know, like he can stack them in there.
okay, okay, great.
And again, I think they're even starting to use that for some other solutions. I know for some parking folks. I don't know. We'll hear more about it, I'm sure.
Okay,
But we even again in that area we have in our information. I don't know if everyone saw it, but Andrew, thank you for sending the email. He owns Fit Foods in the area.
Right.
Did you see his email? In the
No.
package? Anyways, specifically in this package, he talks about parking in the area, the
Okay.
restaurant opening, and the fact that really you're like, where's everyone going to park? Well, if you go there today, they don't have meters in that area.
Right.
So it's just filled
But
with
you-
people. They
right.
got the CRA lot filled. They got the lots between.
Well, they're also
the
not
Gardner
timed. They're not.
filled.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not
timed.
timed, so they're
Right.
limited
It's-
time. So
we have other.
Okay.
again, as a DDA, maybe, again, in our updated parking letter, just suggest we work with the city to kind of look at that area in particular, and maybe, again, create some more revenue while also helping with the parking management, because that would be a factor as well. If those spaces are turning in
Yeah.
there, that would open up for that area that's going to see, a couple new restaurants come in.
right, okay.
So I do think, again, that's why I kind of brought it up. We got the email, but it's an area, as you mentioned, there's stuff happening that we need to look at. But be proactive as we can.
So are we putting together a letter to go to the city?
Did we already?
Well, I forwarded this, what's in your packet today, went to all of you along with the city commission last week.
Well, maybe
So-
you just speak with when you
So
speak with the
today's,
city
for today's
manager.
purposes, yes, I can do that.
Yeah,
Speak
maybe
with
we
city
can get
manager.
a motion to have Laura follow up the city manager to look
that-
into that specific area at parking.
And Jeff is here. So I think the other piece too is for today's purposes, if there's anything new that you would like to share with the commission for next week's meeting,
Yeah,
based
I have
on
something.
this, I think, in addition to what, or if something want to change, I think that would, I haven't heard anything really different except for Third
Third
Avenue.
Avenue. Yeah.
But if there's something different that you want to share, but based on the outcomes and from the survey, again, we haven't seen any data. We haven't seen any of the permit, all that data that the city has to help guide this process. But from the feedback and from what we've been hearing from the street is what we wanted to provide to you, everyone.
If I could just say that our letter that we sent last year,
Right.
was it last? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
last
it was
year.
August. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still pretty much right on in terms of what I see, in terms of the time for the lots, in terms of the free, I think that stuff still exists. I think those would be the points I would ask you if I was asking. I would ask you to reiterate them with the city manager and get them to the commission as being the points that we still, that I still feel work really well as I spit into the mic. I'm sorry.
What about the grocery project on West Atlantic? I mean, this is the time we need to kind of start organizing parking for that, and this is the time it needs to be brought up as opposed to getting built and then trying to backtrack on everything.
Right, and that'll be part of that. It will
Gotta
have
go through the
requirements
LDRs,
based on that use for sure, and probably more. They probably will require more parking than normal. Generally, grocery stores do. So I think that will come with that. But I agree. As everything's starting to fill in there, I think that definitely has to be thought of.
There's certainly plenty of land out there to incorporate it from the get-go. So,
And then, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I do believe that the commission made a move to make sure the in lieu fees now move to be spent directly on parking, because I know that sometimes it was used. I think that was done formally.
There has been certainly a lot of discussion on it, but it's a very broad category because the in lieu fees can be used for a number of items, parking related, but not necessarily in the construction of a parking garage.
Right. It was to maintain and keep it
Or
clean
new
and all that.
spaces.
But I think they were used for other things, and the commission, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I thought they did something to say.
It's being looked at. Everyone kind of agrees that we're charging these in lieu fees, and they really should be dedicated to
Parking,
creation
yeah.
of parking spaces, because that's the whole purpose of the.
That
in
was
lieu.
the intent.
Right.
Heretofore, however, that's a big word, I'm sorry. Heretofore, however, it's been kind of, they'll use it to do the repairs in the parking
Right.
garage, or they'll be using to do this and use it to do that,
Yeah.
which my view is this should be a more of a general fund kind of an expenditure, but it's still under discussion.
Okay, well, thank you for the update. I was just not sure what we.
We learned that word in law school.
Yeah, I brought my dictionary. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I gotta look it up later. He got me. It was a big word.
I was waiting for someone to say something.
all right. Well, I think we've knocked this baby around the park quite a bit in the pinball machine multiple times. So it sounds like to me that we just want to keep the communication open, and that if we want to send an updated letter, we can. But right now, I think we should just communicate with Missy and find out what's going on, and hopefully get more parking built where it's needed to be built and so forth. But that's really about the extent of it.
Do we need board consent to ask that we follow up with all the residents with
No, we can do that.
All right,
Yeah.
I just didn't know. If
Well,
it
I
was
mean,
great
not-
idea, by
but
the way,
it,
Brian.
yeah,
Great
I think it's like a great value add. You took the time to fill out the survey. If you didn't know, you get $12.
Yeah,
for it.
bonus.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a home run.
That's part of.
well, a lot of them still have the Delray address, but
Yeah.
not all are they consider themselves, or they are a Delray resident, but they're not necessarily in the city proper.
Oh, well, I'd send
You
it to
know what I
them
mean?
anyways.
Right.
Tell them to share it with their friends if they don't live here.
Okay.
Move a little closer to town.
Yeah.
So I
To
believe
save
that
on parking.
We were all one Delray, but
brings
yeah.
us to 5B, the beautification task force, right?
Yes. Okay. So, and again, next week at the 21st City Commission meeting, this resolution that is provided as a draft, it will be on the commission agenda for review and approval. So they've asked for the DDA, since this was discussed as an outcome from our January 22nd workshop, that this be reviewed by you all. Any feedback will need to be provided to them to present at the commission for review and approval of the resolution for the beautification task force. And also some of the people that were present at that workshop our BPOA and our Palm Trail residents and our SET residents also have also requested to be, to review this and see what the outcomes were as far as the task force. So with that, I think from the discussion here, what I would like to see is any feedback that you'd like to see communicated to the city manager as part of the resolution that we can share with them for next week's discussion.
I have lots of thoughts.
Okay, there you go.
Well, one of the things, so one of the things that, we've been doing a lot of talking about, right, is how do we sort of qualify who best to stick on a task force that can make healthy navigational decisions for the city. And I think we've got some of them in here, and I think that we're missing some of them. I was just sort of taking notes on my own. This is not everybody, but it's quite a few, and I have more than we actually would have members. So I've listed 12 here right off the bat, and I'm sure I could come up with another few. Landscape architect, a regular architect, a designer who has the eye of aesthetic, a contractor for gauging numbers and getting pricing and understanding competitive pricing, urban planner, right, restaurateur, developer, or somebody in hospitality, the Historic Society for historic preservation, possibly a retailer, possibly a resident, someone from public arts, although I would put that in the same category as a retailer, a resident, public arts, real estate broker.
I don't mean to interrupt, but it's listed on page, I thought, section 3. Mm-hmm. If you look, it looks like you're hitting a number of those ones that you
That's
mentioned.
what I'm saying. Some of them are here, but some of them aren't. Yep. So the only thing I'm saying is I just feel like if we're just checking boxes and saying, okay, let's make sure that the plants are healthy, or let's make sure that it's an upkeep thing, then I don't think we necessarily need to bring on kind of visionary people. But I think that now that this hasn't been done in so many years, we're now at a place where it's about updating sort of the new facades, the new signage, the new landscaping plan. I think that now is a time for actually a little bit of design and creativity in how we move forward. And we're seeing a lot of that in a lot of these gorgeous new structures that have gone up, where they've taken a lot of time and they've worked with people to design them beautifully. And I mean, I don't know what anybody else's feedback, but I'm very proud when I walk around and I see that we have a lot of these new buildings, and I think that a lot of the visitors are loving it, and everybody goes, Delray's always been cool and awesome and funky and unique and eclectic and all those things, but now they're kind of like, oh, Delray's getting kind of fancy. And not that we ever want to lose our sort of like, cool and unique and small village charm, but there's a way of still allowing us to have these new sort of elevated standards and guidelines that kind of make everything new that's coming in charming, but also, high end looking, and then obviously the safety, massive, clean and safe should have been the first on my list. I'm sorry that it wasn't, but I think all of those things matter. So I think whoever we're going to put on the task force should tick some of these boxes that are really people that understand architecture, understand landscape design, understand design and what aesthetically is very pleasing, people who understand urban planning, the way this all needs to function. And I know that this isn't all going to happen in the first 3 years or maybe even 5 years, but I feel like if we can put something in motion and have a realistic plan where we attack, as Laura has said many times, the low-hanging fruit, and then put things in place for things that are a bit more cumbersome, we can be on a really good track.
I think it would be very helpful for you to get with Laura and just make sure, check against these that we have in here, and that we, I think at the end of the day, it's the city commission that gets to appoint and so forth. It's not, I'm not so sure it's.
Well, that was another thing. All I was going to ask was, and I don't expect you to answer this, but I am asking, because the DDA is so deeply involved in the downtown district, and it's really got its finger on the pulse of so many different things and needs, and so many volunteers walking around and reporting things back. There's a chip here that needs to be painted. All these different things. Would it be outrageously inappropriate to ask if maybe we could split that decision? So like half can be from the city commission and half can be appointed by the DDA, and that maybe we'll come up with a really good blend of people. I know. I'm just saying it out loud for the record. It's just a request. I mean, I think it would be wonderful if that is possible.
Well, I, for one, would love to see you be the DDA representative. You're very
Yes.
passionate
Thank
about
you.
this, and I think I said this before, so.
She's already on.
I'm on
so
it.
she's been approved. Great,
I'm on
done. So I think at the same time, I think it's important to go to the city commission meeting and see, or maybe make a few calls before would probably be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, we're going to need to get so the consensus from the board, whatever the final outcomes are, will be
And the only
provided to them.
piece that I think we missed on here that I had mentioned in the meeting, but I don't feel strongly enough about it to really argue over it or push hard. I just wanted to make sure this is a great diverse group of people, so forth. I wanted to make sure there's somebody from West Atlantic, somebody, just to catch all of the geographic areas. I'd hate to see the east side over at the bridge and have nobody on the board from the bridge as an example, and
Right,
so forth.
right.
So that was my only comment that I remember from that workshop that I wanted to potentially see. But again, I don't feel that strongly about it.
I can only say, because I didn't like the first list, and I think I explained it here, and even Al agreed with me with this.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
I know, he went to confession probably 4 times after. But, and I went back and said the same thing to the city to try to expand the list. Without getting into whether or not you want to be dealing with design guidelines, which would really complicate doing this board, I would just say to you, you bring in a whole separate group of people. I certainly think that including making sure that you have a representative from West Atlantic and certainly east of the bridge is probably a good idea as well. I think that because those are, but it's still, respectfully, everything is going to be in the sense of beautification, and once you go down the road of design, it's a whole separate.
I'm not referring
because
to.
a whole separate kind of a board, and it gets more complicated.
All I'm talking about is, I mean, I know that, there's updating, signage guidelines and things like that. When I'm talking about design, I mean, we have in here, we just have like facade guidelines and things like that. So even landscaping is still design. It's just about making sure that it's just got a lovely, charming aesthetic that's unique, and it looks good and it looks wonderful for the town. That's all.
I'm not commenting one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but I think the idea of making sure that we have someone West Atlantic and making sure.
Is your microphone on, Mayor?
You can have this. I'm sorry. Oh, right now you could have this entire list and not get one person from West Atlantic and one person from
I
East
think
of
it's a
Bridge.
wonderful idea.
I do think that's probably,
Right, and I think it comes down to obviously either
which is why the
streetscape.
BPOA is interested in it, but I don't. But I do think that's correct. And but I think that probably
Right, the
fly.
set's interested in as well. Yeah.
I'll help you out with the east side if you want.
That's good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
If I may.
So, first right here, because he's going to
Yeah.
take over in about 3 minutes.
just trying to get you to turn
I'm
right
not
this way.
with you, because I got to be at another place.
So real quick, a couple comments. Looking at the formal resolution, it was 6 months. This was the time frame, the term of this task force. I might ask the city commission to look at making it a year, just because it's a pretty large endeavor. So a year, I think, is
Denver's on your mind.
yeah, and even further would even be good, but I'd say for a year, then could be revisited. I'd like to see a little bit more on the process, because if we explain that the process is we're going to be talking with businesses and residences literally on each block, almost as part of this process, well, then everyone will be included. And I think we should be hitting it block by block, and we should be speaking with the businesses and or residents at each block, pretty much. Because there's really only like 20 blocks. It's not crazy. And we can do a couple blocks at a time even for some of the meetings. I'm not sure. But I think it would be a way is to lay out the process to make sure that everyone is part of this. And then the last thing is, we could maybe work with the city to, I don't know if I need to figure out who's picking who on the for this task force, but I would think the DDA would be a good organization to help administer the task force and report back to the city, only because I think we do a good job at managing it. We're on downtown, we've got our block captains, we're covering it all the time. So again, working with the city, taking the city's direction, but helping administer the process, I think would be something we could add some value on. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
You're now the chair.
all right. Well, Mr.
Bye,
Chair,
Jim.
may I?
Bye, Jim. Thank you.
So,
Have a new chair.
Safe trip.
once again, I agree with the mayor, and I think that east and west, as Jim suggested, are important. The beach block is important. I think the process, as you described, being detailed in this is a great idea, Brian. But I was on the CTAC board when it started, and there seemed like 1,000 people in the room. There were so many members. We filled every single chair in the conference room on the other side. And what really came down to tax was who ran the meeting, who was in charge, made the difference as to how many meetings there were, as to the content of the meetings, as to the content of the report. So whatever is in here, it's going to change. And the more process that's in here, the better it'll be. And it's still going to change. It's still going to develop. It's still going to grow. This is a really important board. The fact that it's going to be codified in an agreement like this, I think is great. But it's going to morph and change and grow and become something special. And it's going to go on for a long time. I don't think it's going to die in 1 year or 6 months. And it needs to be done right. This just says we're going to elect these people, we're going to nominate these people from the commission, and they're going to run and give us a report in 6 months. And it doesn't have a whole lot of detail. Where the detail comes from is after it's established and somebody is organizing it and running it. And
How are we implementing?
yeah, and how it gets implemented. And I don't know how you do that in this kind of an agreement, ever. So we have to have, I think it's important. I love that you suggest the DDA, because we feel that we run things well, and I think we do, but maybe the city doesn't. So maybe we need to figure out a way to make sure that there is excellent leadership in this committee. Somehow, if that can be put in here, or somehow if that can be suggested.
Co-working relationship or something, a city and a DDA
Yeah.
managed.
Well, I want
The first sentence says that. The first sentence says that it's a city and DDA.
Right, but just the overseeing of the task force from both sides,
Right.
so both parties involved.
Well, the commission
I think
picks.
that I've got to run, but I think the key is let's get it formed.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
think the mechanics are going to be flushed out when they.
I just want to make sure they get done with an eye towards really making this special.
And I do think that, I don't think it will end in 6 months anyway, but I do think that considering we're entering the summer months, I would support making it, and I'm just one vote, but I would support making it a longer, I would certainly bring it to 9 months, because the 3 months in the summer will be largely, I don't want to say wasted, but you won't get as much productivity with the group that you're trying to assemble over the summer months. So, I just, in January I'd feel different, but we're going to be, this is April, by the time this gets.
I would
You
hope that
also
we would
just-
have more than just seasonal residents as part of this, though.
But that's my point. You would want, if you had it a longer period, you could have other kinds of involved, because some of the people may be gone in the summer that you would want on this list. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm just thinking through, the process of gathering information,
Oh,
assessing.
the board.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable that the board, when
Yeah.
they meet, are going to figure out with the various representatives of what they want to see. To articulate some of the things that
Yeah.
Mr. Rosen said. I think would be probably you're certainly going to want to canvass people that are going to be most affected by this board.
Definitely.
So I would anticipate that would be a standard thing that you would do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of people with ideas on everyone's got a different view of what's beautiful and not. But I mean, I think everyone is kind of generally agreeing that something needs to be done with Atlantic, and it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about the mechanics. I think it's going to be, whether they utilize some of the DDA's mailing lists, whether they, I think there's going to be a lot of way to get a lot of feedback. That's all I'm saying.
I think maybe, Brian, if I could, a joint somehow. This is the commissioners are going to pick the people, and this is all suggestion to them. And I think there should be more DDA involvement. I think that not just what you say about how, I just think there should, we started this, we had that January 22nd meeting with the city. I don't think somehow it should have just been offloaded to the commission to put it together. I don't know that that is a good idea. I think we'll lose a little bit of the sense of what the DDA stands for and our involvement in it. Am I getting that out clear enough?
So then how would you suggest?
I don't know that I can suggest it, but ultimately, well, no, I mean, because this isn't signed by the DDA. It's
No, I
signed
know,
by
but what
the,
would you suggest
Well,
to do
more
instead?
involvement in this agreement is
responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's what I was talking about. Let us be the ones to possibly administer the program. That was
Yeah.
because
I
if you're
don't, or at least co-administer. We started it with the city, and we put together
So-
that meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may,
Yeah.
to Al's point, Laura and I had a conversation about this, and she has some language that she's trying to pull up, but it kind of addresses Al's point and your point about and Jules' point about the DDA involvement being a little more expensive for consideration by the commission. Because this is what Al was saying, what the mayor was saying. This is just the framework for getting this task force off the ground. So it's going to permutate as it gets discussions start happening. People in the room are going to make the end result what it is. So it's about who's going to be in the room.
But
And
that permutation should be directed.
yeah, I know that's what
Us
that's
involved.
that's the language that she has, and I'll read it to see if you all can agree, and then we can transmit that to
Cool.
the commission. And this will be a new sentence in the, just for purposes of reference, in section 2 of the draft resolution. The task force shall coordinate directly with and present its findings to the DDA Board of Directors, and no recommendation shall be finalized without prior review and input from the DDA. The task force shall incorporate the DDA's operational expertise, existing programs, and strategic initiatives and into all recommendations to assure alignment and feasibility. So I think that addresses it in very.
Did you just draft that or?
No. Laura Simon created that, and I agreed with it, so I didn't have any additional edits to it.
All right.
So I thought that was.
Laura Simon, attorney. Jeff, do you have any input on this? Have you put any thought into this beautification workshop with the city? You want to come? Do you have any input you want to share?
They don't have anything.
If you don't have a lot, it's fine. We're just talking. I figured I always want to offer you the stage if you have ideas or thoughts on
Laura,
this task force.
I got a question about
In-
section 3 too.
I just want to say one thing about that statement. If it could also be the director, maybe we could have a joint director, a representative chosen by the DDA and a representative chosen by the city to lead these 10, 12, 15 people that are getting appointed.
Not a huge fan of two-headed monsters, but you go ahead.
Good afternoon,
I
Jeff.
apologize, Cole.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Jeff Forrest, Assistant City Manager. The only input I would say on this whole thing, the only thing I'm a little concerned about is that there's no representation of the CRA, because it's very likely when we have recommendations, we're going to ask them to pay for it.
We should definitely have them on this
In
list.
the
if they're not.
resolution, you're talking.
I don't think they are.
Okay.
Yeah, I would add definitely. Are we pulling now? Asking you, are we pulling them away from other stuff to try to put them on this task force that they're too busy, or?
So they should be part of the task force, but so the board of the DDA, but the CRA is the city commission.
There should be some CRA representation on
in the resolution.
In the committee, yeah.
I agree.
As a CRA organization or as a CRA, someone
representative,
who's in the representative
part
of
of
the
the
CRA
K,
district.
part of the A through K representatives. What do you think?
I believe along with you all and the Chamber of Commerce, the CRA should have someone that they're appointing as well.
All right, perfect. I think that makes sense.
Maybe the CRA's representative is just CRA appointed representative.
Okay.
That's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, so we'll add an L to it maybe and put a CRA representative on there. I like that idea, and I think again we want to have everyone in this working together.
Well, can someone clarify this? So it says there'll be 11 members appointed. The city commission shall endeavor to appoint as many as the following disciplines of the task force, and then it has 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So does that mean there's going to be one of each of these, or they're going to can be 4 historic preservation advocates? And
Well,
then
if you look at the language, it says that they will
try
to appoint as many on this list as possible. So they can vary from the list.
Right.
That's typical.
Yeah, and we'll add the CRA to the list.
Right.
Well, as I was saying about the CTAC board, there's a point where, as Commissioner Markert said at the meeting, the more people in the commission, the harder it is to get things accomplished, because it just you get overwhelmed by voices.
Yeah.
It's both good and bad to have. I can certainly agree with every one of these people from A to K and now L as being logically important in the mix. And I guess you can keep adding if you bring up the ones you suggested.
Well,
But
I mean,
at
a lot of them are to crossover.
At some point, you got to say that's enough. We need to get a commission where we can talk. You can always hire out.
And again, that's why I'd like in the process that we visit these, maybe have these blocks together at a time, to really kind of dial into these blocks to feel like everyone's included, even if they're not on the task force. You're talking.
Well, I would imagine once the process starts, there would be the task force obviously establishing what the plan is, and then going to creating charrettes or town halls that would bring in more input.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but obviously there's research that's going to need to be done.
Is this an action item for us?
Oh no, it's just gaining the feedback. So if everyone's in,
If I was to make a resolution,
Okay.
or to make, I would suggest that we incorporate both your language, and we ask that it be incorporated into the agreement, that we incorporate the fact that we would like to have dual leadership, a member of the DDA and a member of the city, actively involved in running it, scheduling it, and helping it permutate. My dictionary, luckily I have that with me. The part as it grows,
I see.
and if it's possible to discuss at the city hall, at the city commission meeting, how some process can be added into this to give more direction. What Brian said.
maybe create a template for that, maybe as an exhibit.
It'd be great.
Well,
Anything else, Jeff? You want to share?
If I may, just you don't have to have everybody you want involved in this on the committee. I would, having run a whole lot of committees in my career, I also tell you it's not unusual for a committee to say, hey, it'd be really great if we had an arborist at the next meeting. You don't have to have an arborist on the committee, but if the committee's talking about a particular topic, it's very customary for them to say, hey, can we have somebody with expertise in this? Or maybe a committee member knows somebody who's been talking to them, they can invite them to the meeting. So it's not like you exclude them, they're just not one of the decision makers, so that you can actually make a decision at some point.
That makes a lot of sense.
To the discussion that you're having, if you have 18 people on a committee, nothing's going to happen.
Well, so to your point, one of the things that I had mentioned to Laura is, there's no way you're going to have everybody that you need on the committee. And I agree with you. It'd just be a bunch of, conversations and nothing would actually get forward. But I do think that maybe doing those discussions where, let's say the committee says, okay, in this next meeting, we're going to just discuss this so that we know how we want to handle this. Let's get the feedback of these people, or let's meet at the gym and invite the residents of this area, beach side or this side, and then hear their feedback, because that's the topic of the week and we know we're going to need to address it. And or like you said, this person, because they happen to be an expert in this field. And I think that's the only way forward, because you can't add them all. And the only other thing I want to say is I very much appreciate the recognition for my passion, because prior to coming onto the DDA board, I turned around and had said before joining, I wanted to start a beautification committee, and that I wanted for us to address some of the things that were in Delray that were kind of falling short, in areas that we need to improve, and creating some new guidelines, because they were so old and antiquated. Not that they're not amazing, but some of them are now starting to get worn and torn and tethered and all of that, and need some updates. And so prior to even starting in July, this has been something that I care tremendously about. And in that very first board meeting, I think I brought it up and said, hey, can we talk about this? Can we put this on the agenda? So to see it now coming to fruition and it turning into something, I think is unbelievable. And I'm very, very grateful to be able to be part of it.
All right. Well, great.
Good feedback.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. And
Thank you.
and you'll add the CRA to the notes. I think you got.
I got
Thank
it
you.
all.
Awesome.
Can
Let me
rewatch
see.
it.
I don't have the cheat agenda, so I don't. Let me see what's next here.
DDA old school program updates, February and upcoming.
There you
DDA
go. No,
It's
it's
actually
not
for March.
February.
It's
It's
March.
March.
I'm sorry. Typo.
Don't give me the wrong stuff, Mr. Attorney. All right, continuing.
March.
All right,
Okay.
everyone. You wanna start,
Okay.
Laura?
Oh, as we went into March, we survived it.
Barely.
And here we are. But it was a great month, full of activity. It's probably the busiest month I think I've seen in the town in a very, very long time. So with that, we can just jump into Savor the Avenue. Do you want to kick this off? You want me to?
Yeah, so Savor the Avenue, as you all know, was the end of last month. We had 14 restaurants that were participating, and we did something a little bit different this year. Laura had this amazing idea, and in celebration of our country turning 200.
Are we going to get to that?
We're going to get to that, yes. But I will tell you, it was the best Savor yet because of that. So...
nothing short of magical.
Yeah, you actually said that.
It was wonderful.
Okay, quickly by the numbers, we seated 950 people, 153 curated dining tables. That equated to about 1,350 feet of continuous dining. As I said, 14 restaurants, 280 restaurant team members, 30 dedicated volunteers, and this was the 17th year of Savor the Avenue. And this year, each restaurant gave $500 as our participation fee to the Interfaith Committee for Social Services. So we raised $7,000 for that charity. The other big story out of Savor was the table decor contest. It was a razor thin finish. But first place went to Rose's daughter, who did a special Festa della Donna themed table, which is a tribute to women in the Italian tradition. And chef Suzanne Perotto designed this beautiful rustic wooden table with these huge, massive floral centerpieces. Come to find out, those centerpieces were actually created by Suzanne, who is the manager at Rose's Daughter, the redhead. Suzanne, and she actually built all of those beautiful, so it really was a family affair. Lemongrass came in second. They had another stunning table with those cherry blossoms kind of cascading over each of the tables. And then Gabriella's did something really fun. They did pasta art. And they created these centerpieces entirely from pasta. So they came in third place.
Put those all on by hand.
Yes. And
they
then
had
Laura, you want
signage.
to talk about
they
this?
Had signage on their lasagna strips, which I have. In
Oh my
house.
gosh.
Oh,
that's
did they?
They
hysterical.
did. It was very
love
cute.
that.
I was at the Gabriella's.
So as we were talking the beginning of this for Savor the Avenue this year, it's something I've been thinking of doing and wanted to do for Savor the Avenue for many years. This year we did it. We had a nationally recognized or international saxophonist, Patrick Lamb. After we had the honor guard from our Delray Beach Police Department present colors, everyone stood at their tables with their hand over their hearts, and it was silent, and he played the national anthem, and it was amazing. So next year we're gonna have a flyover. No, I'm just kidding. But it was a beautiful way to start this. We traditionally have a toast, and it's kind of no one's really paying attention. So with this, it really captured everyone's attention. The entire street was quiet and paying attention and standing at attention. People that were a part of the event or not, it was truly magical. So thank you, Patrick Lamb, if you're watching, for stunning the audience. He went up in the lift, which was a little bit cumbersome for him, but he did an amazing job. So, and then the charity, obviously, the $7,000 we raised, which is a different. We changed that this year and did a $500 amount versus $200 an amount. So we raised that, and then also part of the participation fee this year for the restaurants was to provide 2 complimentary seats. But seats for our, so part of the payment for the seats, which also equated to close to $500. So in the past, if we had sponsors or VIPs, we were paying it was part of our budget to pay for those seats for those individuals out of the sponsorship number. So instead, it's now part of the participation fee, if you will, to participate in Savor the Avenue. So that equated to over $7,000 in basically revenue to the DDA.
All right, we wanted to give you a little bit of what we're doing for destination marketing or tourism marketing. And this is really, a big lift of what the DDA does. This year, we are doing some things a little bit different. In February, we got contacted by a media company out of Toronto that we've worked with in the past. They were doing this kind of takeover at this auto show in Toronto. It was when it was freezing cold and snowing, and so we decided to invest in this campaign. It was a 2-pronged approach. We did a billboard truck that circled the show for several days. We had a big video that played on this billboard truck, and then we also had a geofencing campaign where they geofenced the auto show, and then everyone that went into that fence was served our banner ad. So this was a really strong campaign for us, 250% above a benchmark. The industry standard is about 0.2% for the performance, and we did a 0.7. We got 150,000 impressions, 90,000 unique visitors, more than 1,000 people clicked on our ads on that geofencing campaign. The other thing that we saw through this campaign was millennials. We had a lot of millennials, so we have a very strong millennial audience that's interested in Delray Beach, especially in those categories of wellness, arts and culture, foodies. And we also rolled out a new campaign, which we're working on, that's specific for destination marketing, called Fix Your Latitude. It's all about, hey, if you're in a really freezing place. Why don't you fix your latitude and come to Delray Beach, Florida? So that was the campaign. And I wanted to just show you guys what the billboard truck looked like. This is a video of it being parked.
Look how it looks snowy it is out there. It's like,
Awful.
it's like, get me out.
Yeah, so you guys can see the video that it was just a
Come
15-second
thaw out.
video, but it said "Come thaw out, fix your latitude," in Delray Beach, Florida. So that was a lot of fun, and then we're also planning for summer, and that includes some new campaign marketing that we're going to be doing for summer. Of course, in May next month, we have our Mother's Day Orchid giveaway that we're planning for. We're doing, we have Art and Jazz on the Avenue, which is going to be May 27th. And then this year, we're going to be doing 3 separate passes for using our Bandwango mobile passes. The first one will be in June, focused on our retail and art galleries. The second will be in July and August, focused on our wellness and fitness businesses. We're going to be doing like a class pass. And then, of course, in September, we're going to have our restaurant month, which we're using Bandwango again for the mobile pass for restaurant month, which was very successful last year. And on that note, we're going to be on Brightline all summer long. This idea came out of a meeting with our hotels several months ago. We were talking about summer. What can we do this summer? And they all said, the World Cup is going to be here in Miami. How can we leverage that audience? So we started talking with Discover the Palm Beaches. They have a co-op program. So, and they pay 50% and we pay 50%. So our dollars are doubled basically through this co-op program. And they work with Brightline a lot. So we are going to be on Brightline all summer long, starting in May through all of July. And it's pretty exciting working with them and going through all the creative with the different signs that we have to get produced. But we're going to be on the massive station screens, on board the trains and the premium lounges from Miami to Orlando. And we're going to be focusing different creative during the World Cup when the games are at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and really focusing on how do we get people up here for, hey, come to Delray Beach for a day if you're already in town. So really the creative is going to be about that. The World Cup brought you here. Let Delray Beach keep you here. We're 1 hour from Hard Rock Stadium. So that's really the messaging we're going to be hitting. And then the Always On brand video that we'll be running all summer is #1 beach in Florida, everything else too. We have shopping and dining and nightlife. So we're really focusing our creative, and we can change that out once a month per station to really hit those audiences and really target the people we want to target. And I just wanted to show you a look at some of these screens. They are incredible, like that cube screen going up the elevator there on the right. You've got these massive screens like you see in the airport, and our videos are going to be running on all of these screens pretty much all summer long. It's a $9,500 investment from the DDA, but that is once again doubled because of Discover the Palm Beaches. So we're really excited about this campaign. Any questions about that?
When's the train stop coming to Delray?
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no train stop, but we're not too far from Boca.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah. All right, and I'm going to have Emily Oliveras come up because she is the girl behind the social media, the woman behind the social media and the email and the website. So I wanted her to really talk about the highlights.
Hi, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Emily Oliveras. I'm the social media marketing coordinator for both Downtown Development at Delray, DDA, and Old School Square. It's a fun job. It was a very busy month in March. Social media growth is skyrocketing went up 30% year over year. We're currently at 191,000 followers. That's both like TikTok, all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, that's all combined. And we're hitting 1.2 million impressions. So we're trying to hit that 1 to 2 million. It's not like December where it's 37 million. But, going into summer, that's the goal, is to kind of keep that steady. We're trying to hit that 2 million hopefully next month. So an email strategic approach has really been a really interesting our list is growing in our on data, but we're doing a database cleanup. So basically, people who are subscribed to us but haven't maybe opened our emails or aren't really engaging with our emails, we have been creating a list of that. And if they haven't engaged with us 16 times, then they are removed. And it's been really helping us with our opening rate. I mean, it's over 50% this month. Our benchmarks have been, we've been getting certain insights on our new HubSpot platform, and it's, I mean, it was 49 overall this month, and it's usually 20% is the industry benchmark. So we're like doubling that. So it's exciting. So we're at 1.2 million impressions in March, and we're maintaining that strong momentum going into summer. So we're really excited to keep that going and keep that engagement happening. Public relations, we have an amazing team with our Blue Ivy team. Shout out our Blue Ivy communications team. We have been in TV and radio audience with 439,000 people watching, 731 total media placements, 1.63 billion online audience. So not just millions of people, but billions of people are seeing what we're doing. So we're getting a lot of placements. And our website is doing really incredibly well. Just under 50,000 active users this past month. What's been really interesting with our page views is we are getting a lot of like West Palm, Delray Beach, obviously, but the third biggest city this month was Singapore, which was really shocking because why would Singapore be? So we've been looking into that. Google has been getting some really interesting bot issues, so we have been on top of that with our team as well. But we've been really steady and really overall active, with our homepage being the most active and really event driven, with Savor the Avenue being obviously the biggest hit. We had a huge surge that Monday. What was it, the 23rd? Monday the 23rd, it like tripled. We usually expect about 1,000 people for like the active users of, like on the daily. We got about 4,000, so that was really cool.
Good.
Email blasts again. We are way above the industry benchmarks. Usually it's about 20%. That's like the average rate that people try to go at. We're at 49, so we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And we've noticed that obviously it's events that are what people are really focused on. So that's what we're going to focus on going into summer. And what was really cool for social media was, we're seeing a lot of great things with the grand opening. So we're just really trying to focus on events and our businesses. And personally, my goal for this summer would to be at least once a month to hit a legacy business. Thank you. So if you guys have any ideas, I do have tons, but any legacy businesses that you feel are appropriate to hit this summer, please let me know. Social media, we're just under, it would be great to, we're just under 73,000 on Instagram, so I'm hoping it'd be great to see if we can get to 80 by the end of summer.
We can.
Yeah, so.
These numbers are awesome. Yeah, I mean, every time we go through this, I'm just like, like it's like
exciting.
The team, and I know you're a big part of, picking up the ball and running with this side of things. You've been doing a great job. So,
it takes a village. It's a team. There's no I in team.
But it's very, very impressive. And again, one of the reasons why I always want to see, even as we move forward with Old School Square and everything else, I think we need to maintain these assets and keep working them, because we do a really good job with them. And, getting 1 billion impressions, it's not easy work. So, thanks.
Well, Emily just celebrated a year with us, so she did amazing.
A quick, fast year. I remember when you first came on, so it feels like 5. They're like dog years here,
Really.
It would be 7.
Seven, maybe. I don't know.
So much in a year. I can't wait to.
But it's great.
I'm learning
Thank
a
you.
lot. Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you for the
Thanks,
in-depth
guys.
report
Thank
too.
you.
Really appreciate it. So.
And Shelly's not here today. She's out of town, but just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the Visitor Information Center. March visitors, 1,700. That's a large number of people coming into our Visitor Information Center in 1 month. Pretty consistent, though, over the previous year. And you can see, the number one group that's coming in is people from the Northeast. But the locals, the Delray Beach locals, they do come into that visitor information center a lot to get information about what to do with the grandkids when they're in town. The March highlights, Hyde Park Steakhouse has the spotlight. They did a tour of the Historical Society. That's the one thing Shelley's really good about doing, is just making sure that she's got our volunteers touring all the different organizations and places, and they're always going somewhere to just make sure they, can talk knowledgeably about all these things happening in our downtown. And then on the right, just Randy, that's her helping us put stickers on all the Savor the Avenue lanyards. And we had 111 volunteer hours by our event volunteers last month. And congratulations to Sandy Raisin, who's the CTA of the Year nominee. Volunteer Spotlight.
So that number, that the 111 volunteers, that equates to, when we have a calculation for hours as far as a rate. So if those were employees, that would be almost $3,900 of dollars for employees. So it's good. Volunteer hours is amazing.
Really quickly, a downtown business update. I don't know if you all know, but Blue Gallery celebrated its 20th year on the Ave. They had a big celebration weekend with a bunch of art exhibitions and different events, and you can see those are all the pictures from that weekend. I mean, look at all the people that were there just celebrating Blue Gallery. They have been a really amazing, staple, and I would call them an anchor gallery in our downtown, because they're right there at, Atlantic and Federal, and very visible, very popular, very successful. And so we celebrate them. We did have a couple of businesses close on Atlantic Avenue. Marotta Boutique, which was next to Deck 84, that Carolina Cigar and Hookah, is now closed. And opening, Polar Shake, Tartelette Patisserie is now open. The Blue Mussel, which is Mavis's old spot, former spot. Sky Boutique, Dip and Crepe, and then Harvey Insurance Agency, which we partnered with the CRA and the Chamber to celebrate his ribbon cutting in the Hatcher Construction Building on Northwest 6th Avenue. Coming soon, there is a sign on the Dunkin' Donuts on West Atlantic that they are coming soon, so I put them on the coming soon list. And then Bricktop's Restaurant. I don't know if you guys have driven by the space, which is next to the old popcorn house. They have broken ground and they're moving on up. They're going vertical. All right, Old School Square. We had Dirty Dancing Live. This was our signature ticketed event. If you remember, a couple of years ago, we had to cancel this show and refund everyone because we had a crazy December storm that came through. But we ended up rescheduling this for March 12th, and it was a very successful night. We sold almost 1,000 tickets. And it was a great show. We had lots of people come out, and it was a successful night.
Yep. So just on this event, Dirty Dancing Live was basically a theatrical performance to the movie. So with that, we sold seats. So when we do ticketed events, this was a unique one because we basically created an outdoor theater. We set up 600 seats. Three different sections, 4 with general admission. We had pod seating, which was VVIP, VIP seats, and premier seats. And, we created this production. They had their own, they were on tour. This event, Dirty Dancing Live, is a toured event. So they're bringing all of their actors, their stage managers, their production crew. And it is really setting up. This is their only outdoor performance they've ever done, so we had to create the lighting and sound for as you would be in an auditorium. So unfortunately, it was a little damp that week, so they were a little bit hesitant to be outside, so they ran the show from the backstage, which was a little different for them. But overall, the experience was great. Jewel was there with her family, able to experience it, but it was definitely a very different vibe. But the sentiment was overwhelmingly positive on having some type of unique event at Old School Square.
Yeah. was good. It was different. Julie Casal was at the table next to me, and everybody kind of had this, like, we didn't know what to expect, but it was really, really nice.
Yeah, and speaking of damp, this is another unique event that we have started on the campus. Started it last summer, and we're continuing it through this summer. But our last full moon yoga, which was on March 3rd, we had a great crowd. It looked like it was going to be a beautiful night, and then all of a sudden, about halfway through, it started pouring rain. And, you know, unfortunately, as you can see, the one guy is still trying to do yoga in the rain, but you can see the standing water. It was just a mess. So we had to call it. But we are doing future events. We have another one this month, April 30th. June 28th and July 29th. And we do have some vendors. They come out. They do very well. So it's a great event. People love this. It's just, you know, unfortunate when it rains. This is an outdoor venue, so that's something obviously we can't control. I did want to just highlight some of our partnership events. These were fee waivers that you all gave throughout the last few months. Garlic Fest was February 28th and March 1st. Multicultural Fest was on March 6th. Muscle on the Beach Car Show, March 7th. And then the Palm Beach Reggae Fest was March 20th and 22nd. All really, really great events. But I think Garlic Fest did get hit by some rain pretty badly, but the show did go on.
Lightning.
Yeah. Shades of Culture. I don't know if you guys have seen this on the front plaza of the Cornell Art Museum. We partnered again with the Cultural Council of Palm Beach County to bring their giant sunglasses. And we choose the lenses, or actually we chose one of the lenses, the one on the right of the pineapple mural, and then on the left is Arts Garage, which is another one of their partners. And it's basically an Instagrammable moment that allows the Cultural Council to move these around the county, promoting arts and culture. This is the second time they've brought them to Old School Square, and they're going to remain there on the front plaza until June 1st. That's a big deal. They normally only stay for a few weeks, but for us, they're going to be staying for like a month and a half. Mariska?
Hi again. I do want to comment on these shades. Everyone loves the shades. Everybody is out there doing selfies, and it just allows us to be a bigger part of Palm Beach culture, because we get overlooked a little bit as being Delray. Everyone knows Boca. They all know West Palm and Palm Beach, but, you know, we're here in Delray, and so this helps us shine that light. So we had a fantastic month in March. Our attendance was 1885. That does not count Art on the Square. We don't have that attendance number yet, but we'll get it to you. Our donations were $3,700, store sales $2,800, and we even had some art sales. We had, for First Friday Art Walk, 444 people. We had the Multicultural Youth Festival. The art was inside the museum, so many people who were attending the festival came in, and we had students who were playing music in the museum. It was a beautiful night. And we had Art on the Square, which is our premier fine arts show. It was a big success from where we stand, since we have not done this at Old School Square for the last 6 years. I was able to create 6 of these from 2017 to 2020. So it's an art show that is juried by a jury. So artists apply online. We jury the group, and then we juried it down to about 50 artists from our applications. We had about 70 applications. Not everybody is of that level. So this was really juried hard, but we had some tremendous artists participate. Our revenue was $24,943. That comes from application fees, booth fees, which really is a space fee. It's just to have a space on the property. And then we did have sponsorship, and we've also included some in-kind donations in that value, and also our volunteers. We had a number of volunteers. Our expenses were $16,000, and we estimate the net to be about $9,100. We do have a couple of invoices that we're estimating, waiting for those to come in. As soon as they come in, we'll let you know, but we're expecting this to be a very conservative net estimate, which is pretty exciting for us.
Let's keep doing this.
What's that?
I said, let's keep doing this.
Suzanne said we should do it once a month. I'd be dead in a corner if we did that once a month.
I saw you out there working. It was a warm day. You were out there hustling. I saw you.
It was a lot.
I saw you doing
stuff. But we have a tremendous team, and the big thing is that all of our team had never done a fine arts show on the grounds before. I had, but you have all these people who don't know what to expect and don't know what to do, but everyone rose to the occasion and everyone was so helpful. Our team was incredible. And of course, none of this even gets out unless the marketing team does what they do and performs their magic, even down to, beautiful tablecloths that have Cornell Art Museum on them and Old School Square signage everywhere. All the new branding was everywhere. It was so beautiful. Really was an entire team. And thank you, Laura, for encouraging and for saying, yes, go ahead and do this. I've only been asking for 6 years. So we had to build a museum first. And now that we've done that, now we can do more of these. We do have 2 more planned, one in November and one in February. So we are already getting calls and people wanting their same space. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But even the center area, I just want to show them, the center area behind the glasses, one of our artists took full advantage of that space and showed all of his beautiful glass work there. It was just tremendous. It
I was
looked
like,
really
who's
beautiful.
got some you got to have a little faith to keep all your glass out there just sitting. Because I walked by and I was like, my goodness. There wasn't even like a stanchion around it. It was just like art. It was like very immersive.
Both of our glass artists left their work out the entire weekend. We did have overnight security both nights, Friday night and Saturday night. So we were very safe and nothing went wrong. It was really, really good.
It was cool. It was very neat.
Yeah, it was great. So we did have award winners. We had Amanda James Gallery. So it was Amanda Johnson and James Nill, who are a married couple that own this gallery. They're both beautiful artists. They are framers. Amanda creates beautiful clothing, so she's also a clothier. They came and they walked around and judged all of the different artists, and they awarded first place to Brian Sutherland, who's a glass artist and also left his work out all weekend. Second place was Kareem Jones, beautiful, beautiful painter. So much fun to be with them. Third place we had Kelsey Murphy, who was in the Murphy family. Murph Murphy is the patriarch and has 4 daughters who are artists, and they're all one better than the other. They were all with us. And then we had an honorable distinction, Eric Schuppe, and his work is all created by reimagined and upcycled silverware, and he makes these incredible sculptures. So we were really lucky to have him too. That was a lot of fun. We went around sort of prize patrol style, and we had all of us together, and we just descended on the artists that won and really got them excited. We were more excited than they were, but we had a great time. So that was good. And then we had our emerging artists. We received a sponsorship for this program of $2,000. And the program was that artists were invited to apply, and they would apply. We would have the jury take a look at their work. We did award Sabrina McCrannels. She was the adult emerging artist, a recent graduate of FAU and working to make her way in the art world and not sure how to go about showing her art. So it enabled us to give her a space, give her the tent for free, part of this sponsorship received, and show her work. She was able to sell several originals. She was really excited. So she did great. And then we had Bodie and Sky, who are 2 young men, 2 brothers. They applied, and we hadn't designated whether they should be 18 and older to be part of this. So we included them in this emerging youth artists. They had a great weekend, sold quite a bit of art, and it was very energizing for everybody to have them there. Then we also had the Women's Focus Luncheon on March 19th. That was sponsored by Lansing Hutchin Wealth Management. We had 40 people in attendance, potential sponsors, donors, plus we had 2 art sales. 2 of the art pieces from the Art of Her sold that day. So we had some financial advice happening for ladies, and then we also had 2 ladies that were part of the Art of Her. They were sort of a panel. We talked about how do you promote your art, and that was a topic of conversation. And the other conversation was how do you start a collection? How do you begin? Where do you go about pursuing art as an investment and also as just something to hold on to in your life? So that was a great day. And we had the last of the Dorothy Gillespie Kids Workshops. That was really well attended. We had 9 kids, and they were doing some book creating. They actually made books themselves with their own artwork in the book. And then they were all around the museum laying on the floor wherever they could find a spot to be sketching, which is so much fun to see that happening in the museum. So that was great. Upcoming, we have Rodney Demps, the surrealist of the Highwaymen, very Monet-esque work compared to most Highwaymen paintings. So that's coming up, opening May 1st. And then we have another exhibition opening in June. This is an upcycled persistence of matter. So it's from the forgotten to the unforgettable. And it's all works created with some objects that have been cast aside or no longer of value, but we're giving them new value in a new way. And like I did say, we are planning also for 2 more art and jazzes coming up November and February. We're going to be getting those applications up because artists are already asking, which is pretty exciting. I do want to tell you one story. We had one artist who, at the beginning of Saturday morning, was not very happy with her spot, and her husband wasn't happy. And they've been with me before, and we've had the same experience with them before. Came up and at the end of Saturday grabbed my shoulders and said, "We want the same spot every time going forward." And I said, "Well, why is that?" "I sold 5 original paintings." 5 in one day. Sunday we had almost a rain out, but the artist stayed, and at the end of Sunday, between 2 and 4, had tremendous sales. One artist sold 6 marble sculptures all at once to a gallerist from South Carolina. So it was really well attended, and the artist did well. Good investment for us and them. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Laura,
And really
I
quickly,
have
just
a meeting back at the office. I have to be at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And so I'm
Good.
just going to work my way out. Thank you. Sorry, I have to leave early.
Thanks, Jules.
really quickly, just social media, email blasts for Old School Square. You can see we're growing on those platforms as well. Up 96% on our followers to almost 15,000 across OSS channels.
It's over 1 year or 1 month.
Is that over 1 year or 1 month? I think it's over 1 month, right? No, must be over a year, right?
I think it's the other
96
one's
sounds
annual,
high
so-
for a month.
I'm just trying to get my head on it.
And then public relations, once again, always in the news for Old School Square and downtown Delray, and our website is doing well. We're in the process right now of building the permanent website that's going to stay with the campus. That is in the works right now. As we mentioned, March was very busy, 32 events total on the campus. And these are a look at some of the events coming up. Save the date. The concourse is this weekend. Another Twilight tribute concert, Bee Gees Now, which Victoria wants us all to know that they sell out major venues, and we're getting them, so everyone should be excited. Ignite and Inspire, it's a wellness event. That's happening on the 26th. Once again, Full Moon Yoga on the 30th. The exhibition that Mariska is talking about, the Highwaymen, Rodney Demps, that will be opening on May 1st. And then our Mother's Day Orchid giveaway is May 7th through 9th.
So the Ignite and Inspire is a privately produced event.
Right.
Right, yep. The others are, and so is Delray Concourse.
Yeah, Concourse.
So the Concourse event actually does have an exhibition in the museum as well as part of that, which they're doing a private reception on Friday night. And then they're loading in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we'll have a lot of activity there starting this week. So good. Well, thank you all. Any questions? We'll just make sure you all have a copy of that. Good. And updates as we have them as well. All right. So moving on to 5D before everybody walks out of here. Let's finish up because I do have a couple of things under comments I just need to get to as well. So, so you have the February financials in front of you. Also, just an update on our financial audit for our annual financial audit. We're in the final stages of that, so that'll be coming to you next month. So hopefully we'll get that to you, well in advance of the meeting, so you can have any questions or comments on that. So February financials, you have in your packet. You can see our revenues, our tax ad valorem is almost, we're at our final round of payments. So we are looking at our tax ad valorem for the DDA at 1.6 million approximately as the taxes have come in. And we are in receiving our sponsorship. We've got a few new sponsors that have come in. Some are not realized in here, but we did some good Savor the Avenue sponsors that will come in under March financials. But right now we're looking at 26,000 as far as additional revenue. And then our expenses are on track. For February, as we ended like the rounding almost into the 6 months of the year, a lot of our costs are happening now. So as you'll see in March, we'll and April financials will show all of our expenses that you have seen from the past. Obviously, big events that we've seen from February, Art and Jazz, all the way through March's event schedule. Old School Square, we're at the end of February, we were with revenue at 479,000, and our expenses at 417,065. So we're running really quite tight there, and we'll look to, obviously, with our program income is down based over last year, as well as our rental income is down based over last year. So we'll be looking at receiving our second payment from the city this month, which is a $350,000 to put towards our summer planning. And also, as we come into, I'll be bringing forward to you all in May a budget amendment for as we go into summer, as it looks at Old School Square, just based on the changes, financial changes. But overall, we're on track. There should be no concerns from our end, but I'll take any questions.
Nope.
Or a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the budget.
Second.
Financials. Thank you.
You're the
All
chair.
approved?
Yeah. Aye.
Say
All in
aye.
favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
We have a quorum, right?
Yes,
Mr.
we do.
Attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so that's all the old business. So we can move into comments.
I don't have any comments specific to today's meeting. If there's any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Great. We are moving it obviously to planning time frame with our planning for fiscal year 26-27. The city will be having their goal setting meeting on May 8th. It'll be at the Vintage Gym. And with that, we also want to, within the end of May or early or middle of June, to look at scheduling a planning meeting with you all. So I will just look at those calendar dates. If there's anything if anybody traveling during those months, if not, then I'll be sending out just requests for probably looking around that week of the 20th for the May. May's probably a better time for us. June, it's getting a little tight. So I know some people are out of town. Oh, yeah.
June 8th.
Yeah.
Put it on your calendars.
But we do need to, it'll be about a 5-hour session. It's traditionally a workshop setting. We will work probably in a different location, more casual location, for us to begin that planning. Okay?
Great. Any board member comments? Starting there. Anything?
I just want to say the same. Mavis brought it up, and Marushka brought it up, and everyone always says it about the team and the quality of our team and the work they do. And in terms of DDA marketing and social media, it's incredible. But Old School Square is even more incredible to me, because I think there are, as from what I've heard from this board several times, it seems the foregone conclusion that the DDA will eventually hand off the Old School Square to some other entity, the city, that somehow is going to do an equal or better job. or similar job, and I don't know if that's possible. We run Marushka and the team run an amazing, I wish it was me, run an amazing art museum. We're forced to run it for free. That's part of our agreement. We don't have the Crest Theater, which was the moneymaker of the campus, yet this team puts together with half the funds that we originally allotted 3 years ago, in which we would need more now to do the same work that we do. I don't know how we run it. We run it with half the funds. I'm so proud to be part of this board to oversee what little oversight we really do, because Laura really does such an amazing job without us, or with us, whichever way that is, I'm not sure. But I just don't know how to say that I don't think anyone could step in under the groundwork that we're forced to work with and deliver what this team delivers at the Old School Square. The DDA is amazing work. All the DDA marketing and the flags and the poles that are wrapped and the other stuff and the business representation. All of that is the DDA work. The Old School Square is this other thing that they took on because nobody wanted it. The city couldn't do it and nobody wanted it. And we took it on, and they just have done such incredible work. I don't know that you can just hand it off to any entity that says they're going to do it. And then again, nobody said they were going to do it. When the RFP went out, nobody took it. And this team does it and runs with it. And I just don't get why we're not all fighting to not only keep and operate the Old School Square as we are, but to fight for the chance to take the Crest Theater and maybe the school. I don't know how well the school's doing now, but if it's doing well, that's great. But at least the Crest Theater should be taken and run with. And I don't think there's a better team that can operate, especially with the limited funds and the manner in which they work tirelessly to do it. I just don't get why anybody thinks that the operation of Old School Square would somehow be in better hands than what it already is. So I'm incredibly proud, incredibly amazed. I couldn't be, as an individual, not on the board, just as a person, I couldn't be more happy to go to the events and see what you do. And I don't know how to say this in a more flowery way. I just think you guys are amazing. I think that what you do and how you do it is incredible, and with what you're given to work with, it's a team that of 7 or 8 or 10, with a bunch of volunteers granted, that does the work of 50 and delivers financially with much less than you should have, an incredible product. And that's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. That's it.
Yeah.
I forget now.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate everything that Al said, except for the fact that our team can't do it without funds. That's why we wouldn't do it in the future. And if we don't have the funds and the city is not providing the funds or the ability to understand we have the funds to program ahead, we end up setting ourselves up for a disaster. So if we have the funds, I'm all for it. If we're not getting the funds and the funds are less and less every year, you're setting yourself up for failure. And our staff works too hard for that. You know, that's why we wouldn't do it.
Boy,
I just want to be clear.
Between there. Yeah, right.
I just again, yes.
I'd rather fight for the funds. Let's fight for the funds, not fight to
all right, well,
hand off.
Go show up for the next city commission meeting and beating your chest on that one. Because I would, but I just don't know how much is there. Because if the city's going through a budget crunch, they're collecting less money in taxes. And, there's a lot of things happening that I just don't know where those funds are right now. I'm a little concerned. But that being said, our team does a better job than anyone else. My last thing. Oh, Anthony. Oh, do you have anything? No. All right. My last thing is, and again, I'm leaning on my staff to help us out with this. I'm feeling like a jerk for beating up the Rotary group, right? They're coming here, they want to do a great event, but I just want to see these budgets before they come here. And it's the stuff I'm looking for is not a lot. I mean, I'm doing the math. I'm having trouble with the mathing. If they're telling me, hey, it's 125 a seat, and we're expecting 250 people, that's $36,000. If they're saying, hey, we're selling a lot of them at 100 because they're buying tables, and 250 people, that's $25,000. So if the expenses are $25,000, we're giving them $2,500 free rental, and their revenue is $25,000. I don't see where the money goes to support these organizations that we're trying to help facilitate. And if they're saying there's sponsorship money coming, but the event's May 2nd and it's the middle of April, I'd like to know that something was lined up, because again, they'll show it to us after the event and it may work out, but I just, on the front end, would love us all to see this, whether it's any non-for-profit, just provide, again, what are the income, like how are you generating income, sponsorships otherwise, what are the expenses, and this is budget, how much are you expecting to have and to provide, because I don't understand how it's working out on this one, and I know we did it last year. I just want to see it cleaner when it comes to us, if possible. That's all. But I love you guys. You're doing so much, and I'm not, whatever. And again, we did it last year, but I just.
Well, no, I think
I don't want to go crazy on these folks, and I feel like I'm a jerk, and I don't want to be, and I want to help these organizations, but just we need to have that transparency. So that's all I got. And with that whining, I'd like to say we're doing a great job. Thank you, everyone, and adjourned.